Everybody's Clint. This is going to be an awkward video. This was my second time trying to record it. In short, we'll just say that there is a casting couch, or there's the perception that there's a casting couch in the comic book industry. I agree that this is a problem, and I'll get into some of my specific reasons. Not only that, I wonder how many people actually have gotten favors. I know this is really taboo to talk about, but how many people in the comic industry have gotten favors because of casting couch kind of situations? But it also makes me wonder how many people think that that is how they're going to get into the industry and, sort of go that route. All around, this is an abuse of power. If this is something that we agree on, that this is not good, then perhaps we could think about approaching this less like a Me Too tidal wave and just throwing out names, and instead be very accurate about what claims you're making, what is an illegal activity, what is an inappropriate activity, and so forth. I don't know anybody that wants to sponsor this video, but I guess I will anyway. So here we go. Downcast Rise and Fall is on Indiegogo right now. We're getting really close to $26,000 so we can beat the last campaign, and we still have 8 days left to go. Maybe when you're watching this, it's 7 days left to go. So really close. Check it out in the link in the description below. All right, so this is a good nutshell description, I guess, or this is word on the street. Dirk Manning, who is a comic book writer, they say comics journalist, and male feminist. Why is this always the case, it seems? Who conveniently forgets he is married with a family when hitting on cosplay girls. Bonus points for gaslighting and stealing credit for his creative collaborators, apparently. Okay, here's the thing. The term gaslighting gets brought up an awful lot. I can't take that seriously. It's not illegal. Generally speaking, it can just be someone's personality. It's not as powerful of an accusation as you might think. So forget about gaslighting. Taking credit, okay, that's annoying. But if the issue here is sexual misconduct, that is where I would focus the attention. If you actually have accusations to make in that regard, then make those. You don't need to add this extra stuff on top of it to make the person seem even worse, because then it looks like a character assassination and less like coming forward with the truth. If you remember Eric Esquivel, the same kind of thing happened. It seemed like the accusations were the sexual misconduct, but then most of the other accusations were just all these personal conflict stuff and character things. Those are not important. That doesn't matter. Focus on what the actual accusation is. You're only diluting it by bringing up other silly things like gaslighting. All right, so this was posted by Amber Love. I don't know any of the details. I'm just going off of what is being said. This was a really, really long post here. I'm really not going to read through all of this. To summarize, she basically said that this guy, Dirk Manning, claimed to be single, and then he claimed that he could help her get into the comic book industry and get her like a leg up, or get her into, I don't remember if she said Marvel, but getting into comics deeper. She was under the impression that he could help her out, and he was under the impression that he could have this little side girlfriend. Understand that it's a lot more complicated than that, but this underlines the big point here. Is it bad for somebody in a position of power, or at least, if people perceive that they're in a position of power, to claim that they can do somebody favors and get them into the comic book industry if they sleep with them? Of course, that's terrible. Isn't it also bad to think that you can get into the comic book industry if you do favors? Like, why wanting to get into comics so badly? And I get it. There's so many people that want to be in the industry, and they're desperate, and they will do anything to get in. It's ridiculous. And I have to wonder how many people have actually successfully, like, how did this become a rumor? Are there people that actually did successfully get into comics because of this kind of quid pro quo in the comic book industry? And I keep hearing people say that this is a problem everywhere. It's in any industry, anywhere. I don't think so, because nobody is that desperate to get ahead in a regular office environment. I mean, I'm sure it happens here and there around, but generally speaking, it seems to be very concentrated in entertainment. And why not? Everybody wants to be a star. All right, one more point here too. After this big long thread, then there's posting, you can find my novels here, like advertising your books. No, don't do that. Save the book advertising for third-party people that are talking about the situation. All right, so how all this started is Dirk Manning posted something on Facebook. I did read some of it. It was really long-winded. It has since been deleted, and it was basically one of those be better men statements. He's a man that has reached this level of nirvana, and now he understands what it truly means to be a real man. And so he spent several paragraphs basically maligning all men and apologizing to women on behalf of all men. If you can't get any more obnoxious than that, he also takes responsibility for some very vague things, and then he tags a whole bunch of women that he's probably trying to impress with said activities. In response to that, a bunch of people got really upset and started coming forward with their own stories of him hitting on, sexual harassment. I'm not really sure. There hasn't been really specific ones. It seems like most of it has been focused on gaslighting. And again, remember, all of these are just allegations. Dirk Manning responded himself to the backlash that he was getting over his post. And he says, over the past few days, there's been a lot discussed and revealed about how in years prior, I interacted with people who were my friends. I have done things I regret and hurt people I wish I hadn't. And for that, I have been and remain sincerely sorry. I was arrogant and narcissistic and acting in a manner unbecoming of the person I believe myself to be and strive to be now. I still need to work on myself. I have committed myself to doing so, and I will continue to change. I'm going to stop you right there, because this is the same thing that Eric Esquivel tried to do, which is an admission. It's like an apology and kind of an admission of guilt, but trying to pretend like you're only apologizing for very minor things that nobody really wants you to apologize for. It's really silly. I don't understand why on earth you would approach the situation like this. Saying that you regret hurting people, that could mean a whole lot of different things. I mean, do you understand what kind of allegations you have levied against you right now? All right, I'm not his lawyer, so whatever. All right, he continues. To those who know me as the person I am now, I appreciate the support you have shown. To those who I have hurt or disappointed, I offer my most sincere apologies and hope to demonstrate through word and deed my commitment to being a different and better person. Again, what are you apologizing for? Are you apologizing because you hurt someone's feelings, or are you apologizing because you are actually guilty of sexual misconduct? You have to understand the allegations that are being thrown at you. Why? This is not going to help your case. All right, so I tried to find more from Dirk Manning himself. He's remaining quiet. He posted again on Facebook that he didn't want to respond too much to what was going on because he wanted to allow women a chance to express themselves. That seems kind of strange. What also is strange is that every single photo of him, he's got a book in front of his face. I don't understand what this is about, but there's a lot of them. The bottom face covered on purpose. There we go. Every book covering his face. Why?
It'd be much better to take 2 seconds and just be conscientious and not just be so much in the moment that you have to do that.
Since all of the uproar, he's deleted all the Facebook posts that had anything to do with it, and it seems to be that he's laying low. I don't know if that's a good idea or not. I have no idea. No idea. It all depends on what the truth is. So there's also, who is this? Amber Love also posted this entire blog post called The Receipts, or There Are Receipts, and these are, they're emails from her conversations with Dirk Manning, and she's got a whole bunch of them. I didn't read through quite everything, but she does have them labeled as to what was going on. From what I can tell, this is like one of those embarrassing things. Like if you hear another guy speaking to his girlfriend, like pillow talk stuff, it's kind of awkward. Seeing it all written out in type, it's really awkward. I didn't actually see any evidence of, hey, do this for me and I will do favors and get you into the comic book industry. But I guess to make things worse, he used the N-word. So there's that. Again, this is why these allegations are so tough, because so much of it turns into character assassination rather than, what are the specific allegations that need to be dealt with. A lot of the other things were focusing on personality issues and gaslighting, so to speak. Again, like that's all annoying. It's a weird personality thing, but is it, is it illegal activity? From there in the same blog post, she goes on to point out a few other comic book creators. Some you've already heard their names, but she even includes Bill Cosby in there. Again, this is another problem because it's concept creep. Bill Cosby is convicted of rape. like multiple rapes. And so, I mean, that's a pretty bad allegation. Are you saying that anything that Dirk has done even approaches what Bill Cosby has done? If he has, it'd be nice to get the police involved here. If he hasn't, then it might be better to be accurate as to what's going on. One of the other names that popped up that I want to touch on real quick is Nathan Edmondson. Now, if you remember, I made a video on Nathan Edmondson probably about a year ago because I found a hit piece written against him that basically said he was a terrible person, and the proof that they had that he was a terrible person was that he donated money to a conservative charity. If you're going to accuse somebody of sexual misconduct, you'd better have evidence for it, and being a conservative is not evidence. We've gone over other comic book creators. They're not conservative, that have been in these problems. Politics have nothing to do with this. This is why it's so hard to believe when these allegations come up. Be specific. What exactly is the complaint, and don't add extra things that make them just look like a nasty person for the sake of destroying their reputation. So far, the only specifics that I've seen have been from Stephanie Cook. She posted, I guess this was a thread a while ago. She went over some specific, basically like Nathan Edmondson was hitting on her and trying to get her to go to his hotel room. There was one other writer that corroborated this evidence, or this testimony rather. Again, I don't know. There haven't been other things, but it's been weird because John Lehman, I talked to him on Twitter. He's since blocked me shortly after, and I mentioned Nathan Edmondson, and he said that Nathan Edmondson was a terrible person and he got pushed out of comics for being a terrible person. Still, if we boil it down, what exactly is he accused of doing? Is it illegal? Is it unethical? Is it something he should lose his job over, or is it something he should go to prison for? Nothing I saw so far was, seemed criminal, but I'm sure it would make his wife really upset. Ultimately, I've just become more and more convinced the comic book industry is full of a lot of really terrible people. I'm sure there are good ones out there too. I know indie comics, have been great, but when there's that much power and that much desperation to get into a certain industry, I guess this kind of thing is bound to happen. But why do conventions have to be so weird?
Yeah, it's just like going to other worlds, like other dimensions where you aren't rejected all the time. I don't know, like other worlds where your dad still sees you as his own.
The other strange thing are the companies that deal with this kind of stuff, specifically DC and Marvel. It seems like in most cases, here we're looking at who is this guy? Eddie what was his last? Berganza, whatever. He was another one that was accused of a lot of sexual misconduct at the workplace or around coworkers, and a lot of that was him feeling like he had a lot of power. Other people came forward and corroborated some of the stuff. But there's a problem. There's an obvious problem here. If it's better to just take to social media to get these things corrected and you go by mob rule, if that's the better route, as opposed to going to human resources or going to your employer or somebody at the company, something's wrong. How do you fix this? I don't know. Stop being creepers. I don't know. I have no idea. Don't do this stuff and you won't have any problems. Anyway, let me know what you think about all this in the description or in the comments below. Honestly, it's such a loaded issue. I don't want to accuse anybody of anything specific or be certain, because I understand that these are heavy allegations, but let me know what you think would make the comic industry a little bit better. How could this whole weird power dynamic get better? And subscribe, and I promise I'll probably have a more upbeat video next time. So thanks very much, and I'll see you later.